So, back stripping it down again. I'm going to take off the cylinder head and have a look because I'm just not happy with the misfire in the engine and the fact that I've basically replaced everything in the ignition system, and I even went and tested all the leads there for resistance to make sure there wasn't any splits around them. So I have the thermostat housing off there as well, and I'm going to just take off this exhaust manifold now. So I've all the push rods out, the rocker cover off, thermostat off, water pump housing off, and I am going to loosen off the head nuts now. They're thin, and then the head should be ready to lift up once I take off this bit of the heat shield. In fairness, everything looks to be fairly good. I gave everything a quick clean just to inspect it. I'd say those liners were replaced when the previous owner said they were about 20 years ago. There is, you can still see the marks of the honing on them, kind of crisscross, and there's no lip at all. Near the top of the inside of the liner. What happened was cylinder number 2 was filling with water, and I noticed that this head stud there was very loose, and the one beside it as well, very loose. So I'd say it was just basically the head gasket wasn't able to seal. The head gasket itself looks very good. Doesn't show any signs of leaking between the cylinders, but it must have been so loose that it actually just managed to get underneath it without leaving much of a trace. So I'm going to continue to clean that down, and I'm going to have a look at clean up the head then. I'm not surprised at the carbon, considering a lot of water we're getting in, but at least the valves are sitting proud to the seats, which means that they can be reseated easy. There won't be any inserts needed. Every one of them is sitting proud. So I'm happy so far. I think that exhaust valve there on the right looks a little bit crooked, but we'll get a better look at that. I'll take all them out anyway and inspect, and I can't see any damage as such between any of the water or oil galleries in that head either, so I'm happy enough that when I get this sorted, that misfiring should be going out of it. So this is the head. I'll just give it a bit of clean up with the drill there. The valves look very good. They're all sitting proud as they should be, so that's a good sign that they're not way up in the valve seats. So what I'm going to do now is take them out, give them a good clean and a reseat. When I have them out, then if I'm happy with the valve springs on the other side, that they're not too weak, I'll just put them back in and use them again. If I have any doubts at all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fit new springs. But that said, as much as they look like there's plenty of meat left in the valve seats, we won't know until I take off the springs if the valve guides are worn, and in which case, if they are, I'll just put new valves and guides and springs in. So it's all looking good anyway. I just gave the rocker shaft a good wash with my kerosene and petrol mix in the gun, so everything is nice and cleaned. And I wanted to make sure that that little oil gallery is nice and clear, so that's blown out and washed out. So the head is next. Another job I did was I took out the coolant tap, drain tap, and I gave the water jackets there a good draining and a good flush through. So I'm just going to put him back on, and he was leaking a little bit as well, so I took him apart and I took this little boy out, and I'm after running a bit of metal polish on it there just to get it sealing a bit better. So I'll tighten him up. That's another job done. The head is after cleaning up nicely. The rocker shaft is looking good. I have my kerosene and petrol mix there for my nuts and bolts. I'm going to have to make a gasket for this, flatten that first, and a bit of sandpaper. It's a new water pump I fitted, and that head will have to be flattened as well, but that's no problem either.